Hi, I'm Dominic and thanks for watching Dominic's Woodworks. And today no, I won't make that joke. What I'm talking about is I recently made this horn out of pallet wood. Check out the video here. And I liked it. So, easier to hold down here. Anyway, I like doing that, and I have several other ideas of making what we call it musical instruments, more horns. And the one I have today is to make a kind of a conch shell. Basically, you take this horn and you roll it up to wave space. I made a template for this, and when I made the template, I made it in A4 paper format. It should work fine on letter if you want to, and I even color coded it. So you can download the free template from my blog. Put a link in the description and probably somewhere around here. You can easily scale the template up to, well, I personally would scale it up to A3, which is double A4 paper, something like this. I have no idea what the format's called in Imperial, but you could always use 2 sheets of letter and glue it together. So it works in the small scale. It should only improve with a bigger scale. Although you should probably use 2 layers for the centerpiece. What am I talking about? Well, take a look. So here I have my 3 pieces, glued to the boards using spray adhesive, and I'm going to mark them. 1, 2, and yes, 3. Well, the second one gets the whole bandsaw treatment, and I cut the dashed line. Quite frankly, I don't know whether that's possible. I haven't tried it yet. You probably know this feeling when you're about to do something, and just the second the tool hits the item, you know it was a bad idea. Like drilling this intended 50mm hole there, thinking that maybe it'll somehow help with the clearance, or it'll be easier to do while you can still hold this piece. And not only did it almost spin out of control as it reached this part, it also shredded the template, or at least tore it apart the moment it touched the wood. But I think with a little spray goodwill I can still salvage that, and I wanted to take it over to the scroll saw now anyway. I stopped recording at some point because you couldn't really see what I was doing. Surprisingly enough, they stayed in one piece. I'll just brush this off. And here's the funny thing. Look at, say, this section on top, then the bottom. I managed to tilt the blade at a not too happy angle. Looking at it, I think it could have done with a few less turns. That's the thing in my mind about vector graphics. They do scale really well, and you can lose your sense for dimension, but it did look quite nice on the page. So let's see if it actually works. And here's where we'll handle the second part, or the second and third part of the design. And for that I'll be using my router sled. I just built this one. It's kind of still in the testing phase, but I'll make a video about it as soon as I'm halfway done. case you're wondering what this is supposed to be, this is a pin router. What's a pin router? I've seen one built by Brian Collar of Garage Woodworks a while back, and I have to admit I haven't seen one since. But the idea is, and that's what we'll do, by putting the template on here. I know my pin should extend a little further down, but can't have everything. Anyway, this shows me where the bit is down below. I'll put it outside the shape here, and what I'm going to do is trace the dotted line. Turn it on, raise the bit till I hear it make contact with the wood, and then I'll be moving this thing freehand along the dotted line. You have to figure out how to do it best, but that should give me a spiral line on this side of the piece. Let me give you my main 2 points before I turn this over. One, it's pretty exhausting to hold this down with your hands while turning it. It got easier in the middle section where I could just move it like this, XY motions rather than rotation. And the other point is that while doing this, I remembered how Brian used his. He had a kind of template in which this pin would be riding, so he didn't have to actually aim, and me looking down from here, there's a visual problem. You get a different angle depending on which eye you're using. I had to close one to aim over this nail, and aiming across one point requires you to hold steady. So it's not really accurate, and well, at least it does look natural. As far as improvements go, I would lower the bit a bit. You don't actually need to go this deep just to mark it as a shell. That's pretty obvious from the shape. And what I actually wanted to do at first was to flip this over, remove the template, then use the pin to follow this track for the cove bit in order to make the same one in round on this side. The intention of increasing my air channel on this side by putting a cove into this, but for starters I don't think it will be accurate enough. And on the other hand, using the same diameter cove bit, I'd be too small here and way too large here. Might even ruin this section by connecting the channel, so I won't do that. Oh, and yet another note, mirror one of the templates. Quite frankly, I'm afraid to sand this too much, so I will glue up this side to this piece, then give it a gentle sanding, and then I'll put the other side on top. So in order to give the pin router another spin, I decided to route this side. Using this as a reference, I set my adjustable pin, aka a nail, set it so that, well, there's the fit in the way, that it fits into this groove with just a little leeway so it doesn't get stuck, and we see where that gets us. So I don't have to circle it out again, I'll just lift the pin. Or try to. Not too bad. Should have raised the bit a little more, but can still try that in a second pass. well, it does fit this side, in that it looks rather organic. Also, it's much easier to work with a pin in the groove, either this piece directly or on a template, rather than having to aim at a template too far down from the pin. Which is to say, if I want to do that again, I need a longer pin. Overall, I'm quite satisfied, and I'll round over the edges now. While the hole saw may not be my favorite tool, I like the cutouts it tends to produce, and I'll try to use this one as a mouthpiece, if I can drill it. This is one of those I should have thought about that first moments, but I didn't really anticipate making a mouthpiece. So gluing this on will be a little tricky. There's enough surface to make the glue joint work, but I need to fill these. It's not actually the... I'm using a cabinet clamp not only to keep it straight, but because it has a lot of reach compared to my other clamps, and it gets the job done. Besides, with it I can leave it on the floor and have a nice handle to pick it up. So here it is, painted and finished. Admittedly, it's not as loud as this. This has a larger diameter, so it's louder. More airflow, I guess. More reverberation. Whereas this has a diameter somewhere around this size. But it's longer, so the tone is deeper. If you feel so inclined, have fun making the shell. Like I said, you can download the free template on my homepage. I'll do a video about my router sled and the pin router attachment soon. Let me know if you actually build a horn or get inspired to do anything like it. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. This time I did resize the preview video in the end card so you can see all the social media links, the link to my Patreon campaign if you want to support my channel. Please like, subscribe and leave a comment. Thanks for watching. The long slats. Anyway, I hope to free up some more space in my shop, because right now I have lumber there used to be some and still is. There are two boxes